Hey, welcome to The Explainer. This is where we dive deep into big ideas, pulling everything straight from the source.
All right, today we are tackling a huge one, a concept that, a lot of us are chasing, self-realization. But we're going to look at it from an angle that might just flip everything you thought you knew about success completely on its head.
So let's just jump right in. I mean, when you hear the words self-realization, what pops into your head? Like right now. For most people, right, it's probably something solid, something you can point to. Exactly. We usually think of it as, success, hitting our goals, building that career, checking off all the boxes we're supposed to check. It's this very concrete idea of what it means to make it.
But here's where things get really interesting. The source material for today's explainer just throws this massive curveball at us. It asks a simple but pretty profound question. Is that path really freedom, or is it something else?
The core idea here is kind of wild. It's that a lot of people who look like they've achieved total self-realization, well, they've actually just built their own prison. They're trapped by the very success they spent their whole lives chasing.
And listen to this metaphor. It's so vivid. The source says it sees them as beings solidified in a cocoon. Sometimes it even looks like a block of concrete. Wow. So the idea is that success hardens the ego until it's not a vehicle for freedom anymore. It's just a cage.
Okay, so if the traditional path just turns you into a block of concrete, then what's the alternative, right? Well, the philosophy we're looking at today offers a totally different model. It's about becoming like the wind.
And check out this comparison. It really lays it all out. On the one hand, you've got that conventional idea. It's all about the ego, it's a fixed state, it's about getting things for yourself. It's that concrete shell we talked about. But on the other side, whoa. It's selfless, it's a constant flow, it's about giving to others. It's being like the wind.
So this ultimate self-realization we're talking about, it's not a finish line. You never actually get there. It's defined as this endless process of becoming. Think about that. The goal isn't to be a final product, but to be this constant, flowing, invisible force that gives life to everything around you, without ever leaving a trace.
Okay, but a question probably comes up. What is the engine for all this? What fuels this selfless, windy existence? The answer, according to the source, is a really unique take on the idea of love.
Now, this isn't the kind of love you can bottle up or possess. It's described more like a current of electricity or a chain of light that gets passed from one person to the next. It's not a thing you have, it's an action you do. The second you try to hoard it or the chain of giving stops, poof, it's gone. Love ceases to exist.
I know this all sounds pretty abstract, right? So to bring it down to earth, the source gives us a fantastic example, an ancient archetype of this whole philosophy. And that figure is the Greek god Hermes.
So forget the image of Hermes as just a guy with winged sandals delivering messages. In this philosophy, he represents something much deeper. His whole reason for being was to spark growth in other people. He was the living embodiment of these two principles, love and development.
And there's this quote that just nails it. There's an unlit candle in each person's heart. The act of lighting this candle is the act of love. So that was Hermes' mission. It wasn't about making his own flame bigger. It was about being that wind that travels around and lights the candle inside every single person.
Okay, so this is all great philosophy, but how do you actually do it? How does it work in practice? Well, the source doesn't leave us hanging. It actually lays out a kind of practical framework, a 4-step cycle for living this out.
It's called the fourfold path, and it has 4 stages. Step 1, and this is so important, is love. It starts with the act of giving. From there, you move to wisdom, then reflection on your thoughts and actions, and finally, development, growing and creating. But, and this is a huge but, it's not a ladder you just climb once.
Yeah, this is the part that ties it all together. See, that final step, development, isn't the finish line, not at all. All that growth, all that success you create, it's just fuel. Fuel to create even more love, which throws you right back to the beginning of the cycle, only now you're at a higher level. It's an upward spiral.
And this really brings us to the absolute core of this entire way of thinking. It's a single, powerful statement in the original text. Ai nakuba hatten wa shi dearu. In English, that's without love, development is death. Just let that sink in for a second.
What that means is that any kind of growth, I mean building a huge business, having an amazing career, getting all the accolades, if it's not done in the service of giving love to others, it's considered dead. It's a hollow shell, a beautiful ruin with no life inside.
This brings us to the final and maybe the most mind-bending part of this whole philosophy. Because you gotta be thinking, how can something be ultimate if it never ends? The name itself, ultimate self-realization, sounds like a destination. It sounds final. It's a paradox, right? And thankfully, the source doesn't shy away from it.
And the answer it gives is, well, it's pretty profound. The point isn't to achieve a final perfect state for yourself. The ultimate goal is to live in perfect alignment with an infinite mind, what the Source calls God's mind. It's about tuning your own mind to a universal, creative, and endlessly loving consciousness.
And if you really think about it, that just reframes everything, doesn't it? The whole game of personal growth is no longer about becoming a static, finished thing. It's about embracing a dynamic, infinite journey of becoming.
So, when all is said and done, what's the big takeaway? It's that the ultimate goal isn't what we think it is. It's not about building a giant, concrete monument to your own success. It's about becoming the wind itself, endless, invisible, and giving life to everything you touch.